And one of the curious things about service accounts that you should have probably figured out at this point is that even in configuring a service account, you kind of automatically present that machine and the service account driving that service with whatever permissions you've put on the account itself. In some circumstances, you may wish to tailor down to very specific things what you want that account to be able to do. In the same vein, you may wish two different machines to be able to interact with each other in a much more limited sense. One computer to be able to perform activities or authentication on behalf of another, but only for certain services. Microsoft has provided exactly that ability to filter down to specific services through what is called Kerberos constrained delegation. And this is, in fact, at least for our purposes here, something that you would probably only do under the guidance of your application administrator. But Kerberos constrained delegation presents a way for you to take either a user account you're using as a service account, or even between two different machines, the ability for one to act on the other's behalf. Let me show you two different examples, the first being between two different machines, and the second being between a service account and the machine it's installed onto. For the first of these, I'm back here on our machine dc.company.pri. This is the domain controller. And I want to bring up Active Directory users and computers down here where we can take a look at just a sample example where we would attempt to provide this Kerberos constrained delegation between two different computers. Let's say, for example, that we have the need for file 1 and file 2 to interoperate in some specific way. Maybe they're both providing some element of a service. And so because of that, we need file 2 to have some abilities to act on behalf of file 1. As you'll see, if I come down here under Company Computers, I can take a look at file 1 here and then see under the Delegation tab where I would configure to trust the other computer for delegation to either any service or a specific service. The third item down here, to trust the computer for delegation to specified services only, allows me to determine whether I use Kerberos for that or for any authentication protocol. And it's here where I can again dial down that interconnection between file 2 and file 1 to just the specific services that one would be using on the other. I'll hit the Add button here, and in here, let's go ahead and add in our server file 2. Now this is a non-functioning example, but let's say, for example, that file 2 needed to do some CIFS work or some SMB file share work on file 1. If I trusted file 2 for delegation here on file 1 for the CIFS protocol, this is what I would need to do in order to accomplish that. One of the most common examples you'll see these days of this need for trusting of delegation happens anytime you're dealing with Hyper-V machines that need to be able to live migrate from one machine to another. In order to facilitate that functionality, each machine has to be trusted for delegation to one of these services here, which is specifically the CIFS service. There's also a Microsoft Hyper-V migration service as well. You can also see this occasionally when you've got web services that are running across multiple machines, but here for our purposes, recognizing that the Delegation tab here is the location where you can configure this trust for specified services and lock down that connection.